Okay, guys, welcome back to the pool here on day 2 at Hobart Aquatic Centre. We're counting down 3 seconds until this game starts against the under 19 French men versus under 19 Aussies. As you can see, the kickoff goes and the French come out screaming onto that puck with a big drive straight through the centre channel. The Australian defence finally kicks in and they drive them out to the right-hand side. The referees have pulled up an infringement. Breaking, apparently, looks to me... I'm not sure actually what this infringement is, but anyway, I'll wait and see what the refs say. It looks like the French are setting up in attack. Potentially, the Aussie lads are swimming forward, so a little bit of confusion in this first 30 seconds of this, what should be a very competitive game. Australians versus French under-19 men. The French are definitely taking this puck, as you can see there on the bottom, so it's their advantage puck as they drive it out to their right-hand side and then back into the centre. A big... decisive swim by the French, left and right, back into the centre channel again. You can see the Aussies streaming down onto the puck to try and nullify this attacking advance that the Frenchies have got going right underneath the Australian sub-bench. The under-19 Aussie boys working very hard as the buzzer goes again. The referees are saying unsportsmanlike gloving, 1 minute, to one of the French guys. Number 6, he's doing the slow sort of meander swim. Not very happy about getting chucked out this early on in the game. Number 6 is Ulysses Flandrin. Unfortunately for him, he's been seen to do some deliberate gloving on the puck by the refs as the Aussies take their advantage puck, and it just sort of gets flicked onto someone's fin there and allows the French team to get onto that puck pretty quick. Joining me in the box today, I believe, is Pat Meaney. He's one of the referees in this tournament. Your microphone is just there, Pat. AKA the skinny ref is what Paddy likes to be called. He's just turning his microphone on now and sitting down in his towel, just taking a little bit of break from his hard slog of refereeing duties. How are you today, Paddy?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks, Stu. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be out of the water for once. Spending a lot of time in the water today, so it's good to be on land for a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like you've got a lot of fans on that Facebook page. They're really liking your action in the pool with all of those quality reffing duties you've been carrying out.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a lot of support on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, just trying to get people from all around the world, just making sure that they feel like they're still a part of it here in Hobart. So
yeah, that's awesome, mate. It looks to me like the referees are conferring here. The French under-19 men have actually put the puck in the tray and they're hoping that they're going to get a goal awarded. The Aussie men obviously are very interested in seeing if they're going to get a goal or not. One of the referees is saying advantage puck to the French, so it looks to me, although the referees are still talking about some kind of gloving signal, and they're looking at the French, they're doing a couple little tricky referee moves there. I'm not quite sure what they're doing, Paddy, but maybe you could tell me what they're on about.
I'm not too sure. I think it looked like they were saying there was an infringement for gloving, or either gloving or chopping, but there was an infringement against the French just before it went in the tray. So I think they couldn't call it a goal, but they had to go with the infringement beforehand, so it was still a French puck.
Yeah, okay. So now the French have been called for breaking on their own advantage puck, which is normally not a very common thing to occur for an advantage puck team to break whilst they're taking their free. Obviously, they went on the other buzzer maybe. But anyway, it's an equal puck, French versus Australia, in deep defence for the Aussies, Paddy.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times over the first 2 days with a lot of teams going on opposite buzzers. I think we had the same thing yesterday on a face-off.
We just had a big drive by the Frenchies there on the right-hand side, and they've just put the puck right in the right-hand corner of the Aussies' tray there. So the French have taken first blood in this grudge match, French versus Aussie under-19s. We're just waiting on confirmation which player that was, but that was a good drive by the Frenchies off that equal puck there, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely great work there by the French, just making sure they get it on the back wall and get it straight down the back into the bin.
So that's the live screen. That's a replay. So that's slower, and that's live as well. So you can look at that. Okay, so we've kicked off. The Frenchies have scored the first goal, and now the refs are calling the play up on the far side of the court there against the Australians for a chopping infringement. Looks like the French under-19 men are putting a fair bit of pressure on the Australians initially, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. They've got the Australians on the back foot at the moment. Most of the play has been up in the Australians' defensive half, which they won't be too happy about, but the French will definitely be very happy they got on the offensive foot right away. What do you reckon, Stu?
Yeah, I mean they've done a nice clearance move along the back wall there, and they're driving the puck into the left-hand defensive corner. The refs have seen another gloving infringement, and I believe that is against Australia again. So the Aussies definitely want to be careful about how many of those kind of fouls they're slapping down on the French lads initially, because obviously quite quickly they could get a team warning and then start getting kicked out, Paddy.
Yeah, it's especially this early in the game, you don't want to get a team warning, because as soon as you get the team warning, straight after that, you're going to be kicked out. And the more you do it, the more you're going to get kicked out, and the less you're going to have.
Geez, the French are driving right up onto the tray again against the Australians. They're having some really good positive movements coming out of the puck that the referees are giving them. The Australian under-19 lads are having a hard time keeping that puck out. Looks to me like they might have had a bit of a reprieve getting an advantage puck as the French desperately sub a couple of players into the bench to try and get a couple of freshies in. They've been attacking that tray for quite a while, Paddy.
Yeah, it's pretty much for the whole game so far. It's pretty much been right up on the Australians' defensive tray. So, I don't know, hopefully for the Australian boys, they can keep it out and start getting a bit of a drive on soon. But I don't know, the French are putting a lot of pressure on them at the moment, so we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, it's not abnormal for the Australians to do a lot of defending in the first sort of 5 to 10 minutes of any game, particularly when they're against a quality opposition like these French boys awfully are. But now, unfortunately, the ref has given a French player an unsportsmanlike 1 minute in the bin and given Australia another advantage puck right next to their sub-bench. So, again, the Aussies get the advantage, and you can see them setting up with their three forwards right in front of the French line there, Paddy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Valentin FRA got kicked out, but it looks like the Australians will probably want to switch. No, they've gone straight up their sub-bench, and I'm sure they're probably wanting to do a 45-degree to get away from the French sub. But we'll just see. I think the French are putting a little bit of pressure on them at the moment and driving them back into the corner.
Yeah, and a big drive by a French player here right up to the tray, and that puck has gone in the tray. The buzzer has gone, so I'm unsure if the refs are going to award a goal. No, they're not. Again, the Australians get let off the hook. Very lucky to get away with that one. A good drive by that aggressive French forward there. As again, the Australians set up for another advantage puck right next to their sub-tray. And I agree with you, Paddy. It'd be nice to see them sort of press the French initially and then switch that puck around to the other side of the pool, especially when they're one player up. Yeah,
definitely. It's using those numbers to the advantage of your team. So hopefully they can spread them out wide a little bit and create a couple of 2-on-1s. But it looks like the French player is just getting back in the pool, so it's back to all even in the numbers game. So we'll just have to see how the French get a bit of a drive on now. And looks like they're just going down the back wall near the Australians' bin.
Yeah, that's right. They've got a lot of momentum, repetitively able to establish momentum going forward against this Australian defence. The refs are calling them up, and someone is getting thrown out. I'm not sure if that's a French or an Australian player. I believe he's calling a ref's timeout. I'm not quite sure if the ref is sure or not. He looks to be looking at the Australian camp, though, so he might actually be about to put an Australian dude in the bin. We'll wait and see what happens. But, yeah, getting back to the Frenchies' ability, yep, at one Australia number, I can't see that number there. We'll find it in a second. The Frenchies' ability to be able to establish consistent movement going forward and turning the opposition, the Australian under-19 defence, making it really hard for them to stop that momentum, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, I think Luke Sutcliffe, number 14 for Australia, has caught it with his glove. So I think because of the previous fouls, I think they've just kicked him out. So it looks like he's going to be sitting on the side for a minute. So we'll see how this Australian defence goes with one man less.
Yeah, that's right. Luke Sutcliffe is actually the son of the old Australian player, very old these days, David Elwood Sutcliffe. he probably learnt that trick from his dad. I know Elwood doesn't mind a little bit of puck on the glove every now and again, particularly when a flick is launched at him. So, I've seen Elwood spend a little bit of time in the sub bench from similar kind of fouls, and hopefully Luke won't do as many of those types of fouls as his old man used to do back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just wait and see how his career goes over the next couple of decades. But I don't know. Hopefully he's hasn't picked up too many dirty tricks from his old man.
Yeah, that's right. I'd be very surprised if he is actually as dirty as Elwood used to be. No offence, Elwood. We all love you, mate. But obviously, I can talk about you during the stream, sort of unfettered in any worry that I'm going to offend you in any way, shape, or form. So obviously, I reserve the right to say anything I like. And hats off to you over there in WA, mate. Obviously, the under-19 Ausmen are getting under pressure a fair bit by this French team as a timeout is just drawing to a close here. It'd be really nice to see the Australian under-19 men just sort of pull together a little bit more and get some more quality defence, nullifying those attacks by the Frenchies, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the moment it's just a bit of a numbers game. I think the Australians don't have as many numbers on the bottom. The French are bringing the intensity, and they're definitely bringing the numbers, and that's why they're getting all the momentum going forward.
Yeah, I think the puck has gone into the tray. It's going to be interesting to see if the refs say it's a goal. They are conferring it. Looks like it is. So now the French under-19 team go 2-0 up against the Aussies with only 6 minutes, 15 seconds to go in this first half. The Australian lads are really going to have a good hard look at the kind of game plan they're implementing here and start doing some basic Australian hockey movements to really sort of get that puck out and around this very strong, very straight swimming French lineup here, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder what the coach Steve Cleary is going to have to talk to them about at half time, but hopefully he'll just tell the boys to switch it out wide, keep the numbers, start getting a few 2-on-1s and just trying to get a bit more intensity on the bottom there, Stu.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he's going to have to come up with something special by the looks of it at the moment because those Frenchies have driven that puck all the way into the attacking right-hand corner again. They are getting a French player, number 3 there for the French team with 1 minute for, again, an unsportsmanlike signal from the referee. Who's number 3 there, Paddy?
Looks like there's Bastien Bellois. So, unfortunate for him, but it does give the Aussies the advantage now with having 6 in the pool rather than 5 for the French. And although it doesn't seem to look like that the Australians are using the numbers advantage by going straight up the wall, I think they might be a little bit better off if they ripped it out wide and started to switch. But looks like another one of the French guys is getting kicked out. Number 6, Ulysses Flandrin again. Yeah,
Ulysses is going to go spend a little bit more time in the bin, unfortunately, so the refs have told him. And you're right, the Australians are definitely making some interesting choices, just continuing to beat their heads against that full structure of the French on their left-hand side there. The Australians left, the Frenchies right. As a timeout is called by the French team, I believe, with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go in this first half. Just a quick recap, I guess. There's been a lot of attacking pressure applied by the French team in this first half, Paddy, and the Australians have had to do a lot of defensive work just to keep them out of the goals as much as they can.
Yeah, definitely. I know that back when I used to play for the Aussie underage teams, we used to do a fair bit of defending in the first couple of minutes for our games, but usually we kick our heads into gear by minute 5 or so, but looks like it's taking a little bit longer for the boys, just getting their heads in, haven't been switching it as much, so I think that's what they really need to start doing to get into some open hockey and then start playing their game rather than being drawn into playing the French game.
Yeah, that's right. So we count down this timeout with 1 second to go. You see all the Australian forwards on the bottom there. You've got a screen set up in the middle and they flick it out to the left and try and drive that left-hand wall. But to no avail, the Frenchies managed to cut that down and then cover the switch with a big effort by that French forward, swimming all the way over to the other side. Maybe there was another French guy there as well, but long story short, the Australians had to swim directly to the opposite wall without gaining any forward movement. And then after that, the French team has managed to drive that puck all the way down into the corner and now along the back wall. So, a really strong display of French hockey occurring here in this game, Pat.
Yeah, definitely. And the refs called a referee's timeout as he must have seen something on the back wall, but I think the Aussies are really going to have a look at their game plan at the moment, because everything they seem to be doing is being counteracted by the French, and they continue to be driven back. And I'm not too sure how Steve Cleary is going to talk to his boys and see how they can fix this problem.
Yeah, very good display of some quality, fast, sort of energetic hockey being played here by these French under-19 lads. And they're certainly asking a lot of attacking questions that the Australians, they're having an answer for it, but they're definitely being stretched, to their max capacity in defence. And obviously the Frenchies have managed to get 2 goals in the tin. So the Frenchies are swimming it and looking like they're doing a lateral switch of the play, which is kind of cut down by the Australians and nullified as the Australians quickly get onto that puck and swim another 45 into the centre channel. But again, the puck sort of goes in there and then back along the wall, with closely tagged by another French player as they're on the right-hand side. The play continues over there with neither team really dictating the direction of play up until this point, Paddy.
Yeah, it's been a lot of back and forward there, Stu. I think one of the things is that the Australian boys need to start doing a few deeper switches, just to see, because as soon as they start swinging forward, they seem to be hit by the French. So if they swim a little bit laterally or even behind a little bit, I think it might give them a little bit more space, and that might be the spark they need just to get things going for them.
Yeah, those lateral switches definitely seem to be getting cut off quite easily by the French guys, as the puck looks like it's in the goals again, with a big push by the French on the left-hand side straight through the Australian defence. And number 7 looks like to be the scorer of that goal for the French team, or number 8, my apologies, Clément Arocas. Congratulations, Clément, for a good team goal there with your French compatriots. And again, the French asking some good attacking questions of the Australian defence, and the Australian defence in that case just not having the answer there, Paddy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the Australian boys, but I think the French are just playing a better team game at the moment. They're getting more, as I've been saying before, they've been getting a lot more numbers on the bottom, and they're just bringing the intensity, and the Australians just can't seem to have an answer for all the noise they're bringing.
Yeah, that's right. They are getting numbers on the bottom, and they are staying down there. There's some good, consistent second and third efforts with good bottom position happening from those French guys, whereas the Aussie lads, unfortunately, they're doing their best, but they're kind of hitting the contest, losing their good bottom position, and really not staying down for that second effort whilst their opposing player is still there, which obviously, if that happens repetitively, just gives the French guys a repetitive numerical advantage on the bottom of the pool. And unfortunately, that's where this game is played, Paddy.
Exactly, yeah. There aren't many games that I've seen where teams have had more numbers on the surface yet still won. It's always been the teams with the most numbers on the bottom always win. And that's where the French are winning at the moment.
Yeah, you can see the Frenchies setting up there with 3 across, and then another wide guy stopping that, or any chance of that lateral switch going from the Aussies. So I think Paddy was right before when he said that any kind of switch the Australians want to generate needs to go deep and needs to go all the way out and around to give them any kind of chance of not being tagged early by these very energetic young French lads that have obviously put a lot of training and effort into the lead up to this competition. The buzzer's gone off again, and we'll wait and see what the referees say here, Paddy.
Yeah, it looks almost as if they're calling a referee's timeout just to have a little chat about a couple of incidences that might have taken place. But it's one of those things at the moment. With 40 seconds left, it's probably just one big long push to the goal tray. What do you reckon, Stu?
Yeah, well, it'd be nice to see the Australians really pull together and lift for this last 40 seconds. I mean, they definitely need to do something, and they need to do something that sort of puts their stamp on this game. Because at the moment, they're basically reacting to the French's game plan as the refs send another French player out for a minute. So the Frenchies are going to go one down, but unfortunately they've done that a bit in this first half, and they haven't looked like slowing down or being put under much pressure by the Australian response, even when the Aussies have had the numerical advantage. So, I agree with you, Paddy, that the Aussies need to get proactive instead of reactive. They need to start asserting their game plan on this game. And without that, they're going to have a very hard time to respond in a quality way against this very strong French team.
Yeah, definitely. You can tell, even with a man down, with the French still pushing up and being on the aggressor. So, back in the Australians' deep corner. So, we'll just see how it goes over the next 15 seconds or so. But the French might even be another goal up by the end of the half. So, and it looks like one of the referees is pulling up a foul. And there's been an ejection. 1 minute, number 5, the vice captain, Adrian Morant. And so he will be out for the first minute of the second half, as it looks like the French will be down to 4 for the start of the second half, Stu. What do you reckon the Australian boys should be talking about in the halftime meeting?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to have the numerical advantage, but really they just need to be talking about their general game plan and implementing that better. I mean, it's quite obvious that that the French are definitely playing their game, and the Australians are reacting to the French game and not really proactively establishing their own style onto this game. They're constantly on the back foot. They're constantly defending, and now that we're in the second half, we can't really afford to be waiting for the Australians can't really afford to be waiting for the French guys to slow down, because they haven't. So they need to just assert their game plan, their style of game into this game, and really start to dictate the movement of the puck, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Australian game plan is, as you well know, Stu, it's all about taking the space. And at the moment, the Australians aren't really taking the space. They're being sucked into the French gameplay, which is a nice tight gameplay, getting all the numbers right around the puck, slowing it down a little bit, and then just taking it up the wall by the way the first half's been going. And unfortunately, they're just being outmanoeuvred by a quicker, bigger, stronger team.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, all kudos to the Aussie lads for still being in this contest at halftime. It is only 3-0 down, and they're certainly not out of this game yet. But they want to be really careful that they come out on the front foot in this second half, because if they don't, it's going to be very hard to come back from another goal down against this strong French team, who don't look like they're going to be slowing down anytime soon. Yes, they are 2 players in the bin at the moment, and that's probably my one major criticism of this French under-19 team, is they have spent a fair bit of time in the sin bin in this first half, but then at the same time they have displayed time and time again that they can still dictate the play without their full 6 in the pool, Paddy, which is pretty impressive.
Definitely, yeah. You haven't really seen too many teams over my career. I'm not too sure about your career, Stu, but being 1 or 2 men down and still being on the aggressive, it's one of the things. The Australian boys definitely look like they're up for the challenge. They're getting pretty pumped up at half time, so hopefully they can come out, bring the noise, and step up and almost look like a new team for the second half with a bit more fire in their bellies.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was a big cheer from the Aussie boys, just trying to get them fired up. I'm sure Steve Cleary is all about getting a bit of fire in their belly and getting them hitting this second half at speed with a quality plan. As we see the clock tick down with 3 seconds to go until we kick off this second half, it's going to be very interesting to see how this competition unfolds, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll just see how it's going. And it looked like the French guys won the strike and are taking it to the wall, and I reckon they're just going to be using the numbers, hopefully take it to the sub bench and just get a few rotations in, so it's minimising the effects of the 2 players out.
Yeah, so it looked like they definitely went their sub-bench side deliberately. They won that strike by a country mile, but the Aussies are starting to move it around. The Frenchies are tagging that swimming back there as the Australians try and move it out to the left-hand side. They want to be careful they don't keep it on the left-hand side as those guys in the in the sin bin come back in for the French team. The play continues on the left-hand side, and it's a bit of a melee over there. There's some Australians sort of set up to try and get the puck, I think, back over to the other side of the pool, but the Frenchies are doing a pretty good job of just sort of like nullifying any attacking move that the Aussies have got going at the moment, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. One of the French players has just come back in, and it almost looks like they're about to have... Yep, there's 6 players just come back in, and this will definitely be hard for the Australians now. They've got the full complement of players in the court, and they're right on the Australian goal tray, which is hopefully for the boys, they'll be able to get... Oh no, and something has been called... There's been an infringement against the French, chopping, I believe. So that's very lucky for the Australian boys getting off with that one. It nearly looked like it could have been 4-0.
Yeah, that was a massive swim by the French guys. A huge breakaway. He was tagged by one of the defenders, but he had the he had the positive position in front of the Australian defender's stick, and he basically swam that guy, 3/4 of the length of the court there. He had support behind him. He gave that puck back, but that last Australian defender, at a desperate move, just managed to get his stick onto the puck and just clear the puck off the tray as the Frenchies again push from the left-hand corner and try and get it straight at the left-hand side of this defensive tray. The Aussies are desperately defending, but unfortunately, the refs in the way. The Aussies have got it down the back wall, so they have defended that push, but geez, it got close to going in then as well, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's those last-ditch efforts are really helping the Australians and keeping them in this game at the moment. It's getting that final bit of adrenaline, just making sure that you desperately do everything you can to keep it out of the tray. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to get them at least 3 goals to get them back in this game, Stu. I think it's going to be a tough ask, but I reckon the boys would be up for it if they just get a little bit more fire in their bellies.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're not out of this. They're not out of this game yet. They're obviously doing a lot of quality defence at the moment, and the puck ends up back in the corner of the tray, which is the safest place for the Australian defence to have it. Quite hard to build an attacking move from there. They do have the advantage of being under their sub-bench side, so hopefully they can get some fresh plays in the water and establish a push forward as the buzzer goes off again, just as the French guys get that puck into the tray. It looks to me again that the Australians have been given a reprieve and an advantage puck by the referees. The Frenchies won't be happy about that, but some good signs from the Frenchies that they're getting the puck right up there and just sort of really pushing hard. And, basically, if they keep up those attacking moves, it's only going to be a matter of time until they put one in and the refs actually say, yeah, that's a goal.
Definitely, yeah. It's one of those things. The Australians are getting a little bit lucky with some of the saves on the goal tray, but looks like they're slowly being pushed back into the far left-hand corner, and it looks like
I think the referees
there was an
are calling a
advantage.
goal now. So I believe that's a goal for the French. Yeah, the ref's saying it's a goal for, I think.
It looks like number 3, Bastien Bellois, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, whichever player it was, the Frenchies had a really nice drive into the centre channel there, and then sort of straightened up and just put the puck around the Australian defence and then straight in on the right-hand side of the attacking goal tray. Unfortunately for the Australians, that means that the French are now 4-0 up with 10.5 minutes or thereabouts to go in this match as the Frenchies win the strike again and bring it over to this close wall on the camera here, right underneath their sub-bench. The Aussies in good position, but as yet, Paddy, not able to generate much attacking moves past the halfway line.
Yeah, definitely. And just seeing there, as soon as the Australian forward gave it to the back, he had 3 Frenchmen come in and pretty much cover every angle that he could. So he got absolutely crunched. And I think that's where they're getting their drive on, Stu. As soon as the Australians are getting it to their backs, the French forwards are putting pressure on them, and they just haven't been able to have an outlet for that.
Yeah, as the Frenchies drive very close to the defensive goal tray there for the Aussies, and they're desperately trying to defend right on the goal tray. It looks to me like it's gone in again. Referee's got his hand up. He's having a bit of a conference on the surface there. No, he's delivering an advantage puck again to the Australians. He was playing advantage on the surface there for a while, so again the Australians get the advantage puck in deep defence. But yeah, my compatriot here in the commentary box, Paddy, was bang on the money. The Aussie defence are getting put under a lot of pressure. There doesn't seem to be much connection between the Australian forward line and the Australian back line. The Aussie forwards are trying to drive forward, but they're just constantly hitting French players, getting rolled, and then if our backs are getting it, they're not really taking it where the opposition players are not. They're sort of trying to drive too straight. And, the French structure, I think, is just generally, well, the way that they're playing anyway, is certainly a lot better at sort of soaking that pressure up and then counter-attacking pretty quick, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. I think there might be a little bit of a gap between the Australian forwards and the backs. So every time that the Australian forwards do press up, there's a little bit too much space behind them for the backs to come in. So the French forwards can sneak in and steal the puck from them, and then that's when they will start putting the pressure on as well. But also, when it's deep in the Australians' defence, I think the Australian forwards are a little bit too far forward, so that when the French get it and curl, the Australian forwards aren't there, and the French backs are there as well. So again, they get a bit more drive on. So I think it just needs to be a little bit more. What's the word is, Stu? Just basically, yeah, they just need to be
Just
tighter.
more connection, I think,
Yeah, a
between
bit
the
more
backs and the
connection.
forwards. Yeah, like you said, tighter. And as the French take an advantage puck and the Aussies defended out right underneath their sub bench. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure these Aussie lads, the under-19 lads, are doing their best against what seems to be a very tight-knit, very well-drilled French opposition here. Now, unfortunately, there's been a dangerous flick, I believe, for a French player, and he's getting sent out for 2 minutes. Number 4 there. Number 4 for the French team is Florentin Dusford. So Florentin will go and spend 2 minutes in the bin for a dangerous flick, I believe, which is unfortunate for him. But with 4-0 up and only 7 minutes 45 seconds to go in this game, I don't think that's going to concern the Frenchies too much unless the Australians pull out something special here and put the puck in the goals, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. And as we've seen throughout the first half of this game, it hasn't really phased the French too much when they've got a kick out. They've still had the numbers, they've still brought the intensity, and they've still been driving the Australians back, even with 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's right, mate. And that's exactly what they're doing at the moment. So, the French are definitely keeping their pedal to the metal. They're definitely keeping the accelerator on. And it's really up to the Australian lads now to sort of try and come up with something special, something different to try and nullify this repetitive attack method that the Frenchies are employing so well, and just see if they can create some kind of positive movement forward for these last 7 minutes of this second half, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully for the Australian boys, they'll learn a bit of a lesson from this one, just to see, because what they've been doing at the moment hasn't been working as well as they expected it to be, and maybe we'll just see how everything goes, and hopefully they can try something new, just mix it up a little bit, and hopefully find that special something to get them going. But I don't know, with 6.5 minutes left, it might have left a little bit too late, but hopefully they can get a goal or two back and make the scoreboard look a little bit nicer in the Australians' favour.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's only day 2 of this competition. The Aussies, I'm sure, will learn a lot of lessons out of this and come back stronger for their remaining games. But it looks like we've had a timeout called by the refs here. Looks like a French timeout. So the teams will go and have their little chats, have a little drink of water, and listen to some pearls of wisdom from their coaches. But I tell you what, up until this point in time, with only just over 6 minutes to go in this game, the French have definitely displayed or sort of asserted their dominance in the pool, with a lot of hard swimming, a lot of good lines, a lot of support, good bottom time, good bottom position, good second and third efforts, Paddy. I'm finding it pretty hard to fault the way these guys are playing this game.
Yeah, definitely. As you said before, Stu, I think the only thing we can really... something has happened in the other court, and it sounds very interesting. But, back to our game. I think the only thing I can really fault with the French guys is consistently getting kicked out and not having the full 6 in the water. And if they had that, then who knows what the scoreline could have been. They're really putting a statement, and they're really making a statement to the rest of the teams in this under-19 men's competition.
Yeah, that's right. They are definitely making a statement against this quality Australian under-19 team that the Frenchies are here to play, and they are certainly looking in this game like they're going to be one of the teams to beat at the comp. But as the Australians drive forward, and the Frenchies try and bring the puck over to the close corner of the tray there, and they're getting pressured a lot by the Australian lads as they have the puck right underneath their sub bench. So hopefully the Aussies can bring that puck out and around and get it into the centre channel with some numbers behind it. But unfortunately, the Frenchies are nullifying that attacking move that the Australians have got going at the moment anyway. It sort of has stagnated underneath that sub-bench side. So, it'll be interesting to see what the Australian lads can generate here, Paddy.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah, especially now. It looks like they've got the big roll on by the French here, pushing straight up the wall, right down in front of the Australian sub bench at the moment. So I think, unfortunately for the Australian boys, their big drive didn't pay off as well, and the French boys got a few more fresh plays in the water, and now they're putting a drive on. So. And it looks like there is an Australian free puck, which will be a nice little reprieve for the Australian boys. Hopefully they can take it to the far side and open up a little bit more space and play their own game plan. But yeah, it looks like they're getting sucked into the wall and just playing the Frenchman's game plan. What do you reckon, Stu?
Yeah, the Frenchies have actually seemed to take it across the other side of the pool, vice the Australians there. So it was sort of like a forward line, very square switch displayed or implemented by the French team. The Aussies were fast onto it, and they are now pressing that far side of the court, just trying to gain some advantage down that left-hand wall. But again, the Frenchies just, proving their strength on that wall side with a lot of repetitive numbers on the bottom and sort of driving the Australians slowly back into their defensive corner. I mean, as you said before, Paddy, it'd be nice to see the Australian lads just bring it over to their sub-bench side from here through their back line and kind of try and open this game up a lot more. But unfortunately for them, the French have just had all the answers up until this point with just under 4 minutes to go in this game. The Aussie lads are doing a good job, and they're obviously going to fight this game all the way out as the Frenchies take it all the way to the corner. That Australian defender was very late coming down there, and the puck is in the tray at the moment, Paddy.
Yeah, although no, the referees are calling it no goal, and it looks like there is also an ejection. One of the French boys is getting kicked out. Number 11, Kevin Cupin. Looks like he's being ejected for 1 minute for obstruction. As Steve Cleary, the Australian coach, looks like he's calling a timeout. Hopefully this can help them, the Australian boys, regain a little bit of composure. What do you reckon, Stu?
Yeah, not a bad call by Steve to call a timeout with just over 3 minutes to go in the game. His lads are definitely displaying that want to fight this game all the way out for the last 3 or so minutes. But he obviously wants to use his timeout that he's got remaining in a quality way that sort of complements giving the guys a rest at the right time. And, it's pretty hard to pick when these guys need the timeout at the moment because they're constantly under pressure. But with a player in the bin on the Frenchies side, it's not a bad time for Steve to do it. And I know if I was in there and I was 4-0 down to a French side with just over 3 minutes of timeout right now to just sort of solidify how we want to play these next 3 minutes would be something that I'd be pretty happy about, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely, Stu. I think always for us, our coach Nick Martin always used to talk about as soon as they get the numbers down or as soon as we have a free puck, we'd usually take a timeout just to consolidate our efforts and try and organise a nice push for the goal tray and see how it goes. And it looks like it's paying off for the Australian boys, driving it up that side, not the camera side, but driving it up their left-hand side. But unfortunately for the Frenchies, there's been another ejection. Is it, or is it just a normal free?
Yeah, I think that might have been just a standard infringement against the Frenchies for a bit of obstruction against the Aussies. So the Aussies got the advantage puck, but you can see the Frenchies how they're setting 3 up in front of the Australians, attacking 3, and 2 behind on that line between the puck and the goal tray. So those guys have got a good defensive structure going on with numbers on the bottom, and they're sort of dealing well. Interesting that they keep their 3 guys up the front and only 2 defenders when they're 1 player down, but they can certainly... they've certainly proven that they can still assert their pressure on the opposition team with 1 guy out, Paddy, because, as we can see right now, they're driving it down the pool again.
Yeah, definitely, Stu. It looks like they've got a lot of trust in their forwards to set up that block right in the front and just make sure that they don't let anything past them. It's almost as if they're doing a bit of Kiwi play with the 3-1-1 at the moment, so having what they call their goalkeeper sitting out the back, and just taking up the spills and letting the guy in front push up and take up the space in the middle.
Yeah, maybe, mate. Again, the Aussies get a bit of a reprieve on a big drive from the Frenchies. They get an advantage puck right in their defensive sort of third. The Frenchies were really asking some good attacking questions to the Australians there right in front of their tray. So very lucky the Australians got that free then. And I'm sure they'll be looking to take advantage of this as they set up a nice drive through the middle, but get hit straight away by the Frenchies in good bottom position with a French forward down there to pick up the scraps. The Australians desperately try and get it out to the right-hand side as a French player gets to that fall of the puck, and then again they start driving it on a 45 back into the centre channel. The Aussies sort of managed to clear it out to the left, but Jesus, tit for tat for the moment, Paddy. It's basically going to be very interesting to see how this last minute and 20 seconds unfold.
Yeah, definitely, Stu. I think all the Australian boys need to do is just make sure they get some numbers behind the puck and hopefully drive it out. Even if it is, even if they do something risky like a 45 in front of the goal tray, I reckon that's their best bet at the moment to scoring. But it looks like there's been an infringement against the French, and which is lucky for the Australian boys. Yet again, the puck has gone in the bin, and there's been something called against them, which has definitely helped them on the scoreboard. But I think they definitely need to get a bit more offensive pressure going rather than being on the back foot all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and as you know, everything starts from defence. A good defence can lead to a good offence, and a good offence is a good defence. And the Australian lads just don't seem to be able to do either one that great against this very strong French team as we get inside 1 minute to go in this second half of this game. Under-19 Aussies versus under-19 French men. I mean, as another French guy goes for a bit of a swim down the pool with the Australian defenders coming onto him, he's taken it all the way to the corner. The Frenchies are really sort of putting a lot of pressure on the Australian team right on the corner of their defensive tray. As you can see, a whole bunch of bathers down there, green in colour, just trying to keep that puck out as we get inside the last 30 seconds. A very good effort of defence by the Australians there under a lot of pressure as they try and drive it down that left-hand wall, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like they were really making a push for a fifth goal for that one, just to really stamp their foot on this under-19 men's competition and make a big statement. Although, by the gameplay at the moment, they have definitely made a big statement. But I don't know. Hopefully, the Australian boys. It's only day 2, but the Australian boys definitely have a lot of time to bounce back, and hopefully, we'll see some better gameplay from them in the future.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure they'll be keen to assert their game plan on the games to follow as another French lad sits in the bin. As you said before, the Australians have certainly been helped out on the scoreboard by the referees. There's been a lot of puck gone into the tray that has been basically called a no goal because of previous infringement by the Frenchies. And I mean, it's also a good indicator that the refs have been hot on the French play because they have spent a lot of time in the bin this game as the last 5 seconds count down. It is going to be 4-0. The winners being French, obviously, and the Australians are going to have to go lick their wounds and learn some lessons. A very good fought-out game by both teams, but obviously there can be only one winner a lot of the time, and the Frenchies have definitely been the team on the day today as they cheer each other and hopefully go and shake the hands of those refs. The Australian boys definitely should because they were certainly helped out a lot of the time in defence by those refs, Paddy.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of calls there. I'm not too sure how much of it was the refs helping out or the refs just seeing any of the infringements that may have occurred. But oh well, it's one of those things. It's hockey. Anything happens in hockey, and we'll just see how the Aussie boys bounce back from this. But it'll be very interesting to see how the French play with a full 6 in the water for 30 minutes next time. So,
yeah, that's right. It would be nice to see those lads being not in the sub-bench so much and seeing what they can deliver. We're just going to try and get one of us out onto the pool deck now to have a chat to these players and see how the game went down for them. So until next time, that's it from me and Paddy here at the commentary box. Thanks, Paddy.
Thanks, Stu. Good to be here.
See you, buddy.
Okay, joining me on the pool deck from France, we've got the number 4, their captain.
Hi,
Your name is?
Florentin Dufour. Florentin Dufour.
Florentin Dufour. Good game for you guys there against Australia.
Yes, it was a very good game. The consigne was to play on the wall first, to try to make them under pressure during the 5 first minutes. That's what we did. And after we tried to open by the forward line, and on the second half time to open by the back line.
Yeah, you seem to have really tight structures and very well drilled and everyone's strong together. Coach Paul, very clear message.
Yes. Thanks, Paul. You are the best coach ever. I love you.
No, that's excellent. And the Australian boys, they're without their captain and vice-captain at the moment, but still put up a good fight against you.
Yes. Can you repeat, please, slowly?
Yeah, that's okay. And who are you looking forward to playing next?
We are going to play against Colombia.
Now that will be a very tough game. They also play a very aggressive, tight structure. Same plan?
Same plan, smash them on the wall and go to the gold medal.
Excellent idea. Well, good luck for the rest of the tournament. Do you have a message for the French fans?
Yes, bon les gars, on va continuer d'être à fond comme ça et vous ramener la médaille d'or. Et big up à Thomas de Trébon, mon coach.
Good luck. Well, with 14 minutes left on the clock, we'll leave it there for a second and give one of the young Australian boys a chance to go over. I don't know if we're going to get anyone at this stage. Perhaps their coach might come for a chat. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. He's thinking about it. But no, no, we've got action. He is swimming this way. The Australians knocked down with a bit of injury at the moment. Did you say that's only 4 minutes, Bell? Oh, is that clock wrong, Rob? Yes, I think we might actually have a score next issue. We'll get Steve very quickly. Steve, tough game.
Very tough, Nick, very tough. French played a very solid wall game, very strong on the wall. We couldn't bust them up open.
Yeah, they're certainly very fit and strong on the bottom and hard on the puck. Hard as a coach when you're missing a few of your key players.
Yeah, we've had to, first 2 days of this comp, miss our captain, vice-captain. So that makes it a little tougher, but no excuses. The French played a very strong wall game, very hard, fast, and we couldn't break it up.
The boys just seem a little bit hesitant, Steve. Are they struggling with a bit of confidence, missing those players, or is the game just speeded up and they're still trying to catch up to this pace of the Worlds?
Yeah, a bit of both, I reckon. A little bit of both. And it does hurt us, but no excuses. We still should be able to slow that game up on the wall, and we still should be able to open the play up. That's the Australian way. That's what we want to play. Unfortunately, that's not happening.
Yeah, well, Steve, I wish you the best of luck. It's a tough job as a coach to raise your players up with the start of a tournament like this, but I know you've got it in you, and we look forward to seeing you in the rest of the tournament.
I know, rest day tomorrow, Nick, so it's to the pub.
Steve Cleary, the Australian Under-19 men's coach there.